What up, everybody? It's your man Danelle, aka Small Guy Promotions, aka the Omaha Fatty, coming with another podcast episode of What's Up, Omaha. Today, I just want to talk about wrestling. Not just wrestling, but women's wrestling. So, my daughter this year decided that she wanted to wrestle. This is the first year that they've had wrestling at they actually have had women's wrestling at all the schools. Um, and yeah, she wanted to do it. It's something that we had talked about here and there in the past, just with doing jujitsu. Wrestling is a big part of jujitsu. We've had her take some wrestling. That was a part of the kids' classes at 10th Planet in Omaha. Um, and wrestling is actually what got her to enjoy jujitsu. So it wasn't like a big surprise that she wanted to wrestle. There's only four girls on her team at Papillion La Vista. So I kind of made tournaments and things crazy, but you know, those four girls got to bond and have a good time. The season is over. They just had the state wrestling tournament this weekend, and it was a great thing all year, even with COVID. Like, it's been weird with COVID and, not being able to have my wife and I and my other daughter at the duels or tournaments, just because of, social distancing. Uh, this tournament, the state tournament, was the only tournament that all of us got to go and watch my daughter wrestle. So that was cool. But let's just get into a little bit of the season. My daughter's first year of actual wrestling, and though she's had a little experience, she's a ninth grader. All of her teammates were ninth graders, and they learned a lot this year. I don't think that there was any expectations on our end aside from just going out and having a good time and learning. If you win, it's always a plus. If you lose, it kind of sucks. But you try to learn from it in either case. And I personally, as a father, I don't mind seeing my daughter lose, just because I know that's what she needs in life. Like, I don't want her to just be excellent at something just starting out. Like, that doesn't make sense. Like, she needs to go through some tough times to really appreciate the process and getting better and improving and working from being at the bottom to being at the top. So if she continues to wrestle, I just assume that there will be gradual improvements. So, we were taking it for what it was going to be, and we knew it was going to be tough. And a lot of those girls that they're going against have wrestled before, because even though it's not been at every school, there's still been girls who have wrestled, and maybe they've wrestled with the boys. So they had experience, and a lot of the girls were older also. Again, my daughter is a ninth grader, a freshman, so they were going against sophomore, juniors, and seniors in some cases. But yeah, man, a great learning experience, and I just love that this is something that she came to us and wanted to do. We didn't push it on her, so that was cool. Just glad to see her want to actively go out and participate in something. And for me as a parent, again, it's kind of odd, because I'm everybody sees me as like, or a lot of people see me as like this people person, and just when I'm not in charge of something and it's new, sometimes I'm kind of like, I'm kind of skeptical on it. So being being forced to be a part of a group is kind of a weird thing for me sometimes. But you know what, the parents were all cool. The coaches were cool, and you know, uh, it was something that I'm just glad that my daughter was a part of, and I'm happy to be there to help her. Um, I know there was frustrations with communication and whatnot, but it was a part of it because it was the first year and they didn't know when all the tournaments were going on or what tournaments they were going to be participating in. So it was like, man, like, and then it was the kids talking amongst themselves and not maybe always getting the clarification from the coaches. So there was miscommunication there from the kids and stuff. And next year, I have no doubt that it will also be better from that standpoint. But man, getting to see my daughter be out there and wrestle, you know, you want to see the kids win, but again, getting that punch in the mouth is okay. And it's to see how she bounces back from those losses and, you know, how she understands that she needs to work harder because there's some killers out there. And, you know, none of those people are friends. They're not, I mean, they may be friends outside of the competition aspect, but once the buzzer goes off, like nobody's friends, like it's time to get it. And she knows that from jujitsu. But again, it's just a different world, and people who dedicate themselves to wrestling, uh, man, tough people. Like I, I don't think that weak people last very long in wrestling because those people are tough, and I'm not just talking physically, but mentally as well. Like, and that was a big thing that I was able to see with all these girls competing was like normally when you may think of like fiery spirit and competition and just rough around the edges, grinding, going and getting it type of situations. You might associate that with a male. But man, these girls, if you have never watched a girls wrestling match, I would invite you to do so because I was so impressed and so like I don't know. I enjoyed it so much seeing these girls like the passion that they brought to the mats and like you could see that some of these girls just from their build like yoked, like buff, like young ladies, man, like out there on the mats, like bro, look at that girl's quads or look at that girl's biceps. Like these girls are putting in work and don't think just because it's like girls wrestling that it can't be like competitive and just as good as the guys because these girls were out there getting it. And I was glad to witness that firsthand. So shout out to any girl out there wrestling and putting it on the line and just representing for ladies and women. You guys are doing an amazing job, and I'm a fan. One of the things that really surprised me was how excited that I got when there were matches going on that didn't involve any of the girls from our school. Um, you you're sitting in the stands and you just find yourself like rooting for like some of the girls in the matches and you don't even know them. So it's like crazy. It's like, man, all right, do this, do that. Like, get your head out, jump to the other side. Like, you're kind of like, you're into it, man. And it's just a real exciting thing. Um, yeah, fortunate to witness it, especially in a year of COVID with so many restrictions. And that's another thing too. Like, if you've listened or watched the podcast, you know that I'm still not really cool with being around a lot of people and wanting to support my daughter more than anything else. Uh, you know, puts me in a setting with a bunch of people around. The wrestlers aren't wearing masks the whole time. Of course, when they're wrestling, they're not wearing them, but sometimes they're coming off the mats and they're still not wearing them. And then you got these parents who aren't wearing masks as well. And it's just like an uncomfortable situation for me. So I just try to stay away from people who don't have masks on. Whatever your beliefs are, I don't care. But if you see me with a mask and you don't have a mask, obviously, like, we probably don't have the same thoughts on the topic. So just don't come by me. Like that's my thought. But yeah, I try to stay away from any of those people that don't have a mask on, like in close proximity. But so yeah, that was one of the challenging things, man. And just seeing all these people walk around without masks on. for me, it's more of a thing too, like when, you know, it's enforcement. Like if you go to a place that says masks are required, but then you go and people don't have masks on and like nobody's doing anything about it, like it's just like, you shouldn't say. I mean, I guess you're trying to say mask required just to get as many people as possible to wear them, but if you're not going to enforce it at any level, you know, and I know like at grocery, it's just an odd thing, and people shouldn't have to be put in that situation. Like if you're working at a grocery store, like I've apologized to like the people working at the counter sometimes when I go in and I see somebody without a mask on, and I'm like, man, I'm sorry that you got to deal with that. And you know, these places are being told not to engage in uh, any argument with these people who come in without masks on. Um, but what happens is you get people who feel strongly the other way, and then it, you know, they come at these people and then they start arguments, and maybe and sometimes they're fighting. I don't know. I know I saw a video of a guy who approached a guy without a mask on in a Walmart, and the guy like pulled the guy without the mask pulled a gun. I don't know what state it was in, but I just saw a video of it on social media. So yeah, man, it's just a weird thing, and I'm not one to like. It's not worth it for me to start a confrontation. Like I'm not trying to fight anybody for real, like on the street. Like if we're in the dojo or something and you know we're doing jujitsu, like that's one thing. But like I'm not actually trying to get into it on the street. And people are crazy, and I don't want to subject my kids to me wilding out in public like that. Cause yeah, I just see myself if I were to ever get in a fight, like it wouldn't be like oh man, I would fight so dirty. I'd do whatever it takes, man. Do whatever it takes to not lose. So I just don't want to be put in that situation. And I'm not trying to get knocked out in front of my kids or get beat up in front of my kids either. So that that's just a whole nother thing. But yeah, man, I just try to stay away from people like that as much as possible. Yeah. But anyway, through all that, through all my uh discomfort in being out in those physical areas, it was well worth it to be able to see my daughter on the mats and competing. And I don't know what her record was for the season. You know, she had some good matches. Even if she lost, she had good matches. There were some good back and forths. There were some close ones. There were some ones where she got blown out like in seconds because the girls were aggressive and she's not so aggressive. And you know, we talk about her being first and not giving them an opportunity to engage first. But she's had some ones where she's beat girls in seconds, and you know, it's all a learning process. And no matter what happens, she is better for going out and doing this stuff. Win or lose, she's better. She's doing something that she wants to do. She's practicing every day, giving 100%, working. Like I never hear her uh, complain about practice. Like she, you know, outside of what people normally do. Like she might complain about having to go to practice on a day when there's no school or something, but she goes and she gets it done. Like, you know, who doesn't complain a little bit and from time to time in those type of situations where you're like, man, I just want to chill the whole day. But I'm definitely impressed by her grit and just seeing her on the mats do like move sometimes when she's like trapped in you know, a near fall, a near pin position, and being able to corkscrew her body or whatever it is to reverse and get on top. It's just a cool thing, man. And yeah, like being a parent of like an athlete is kind of crazy because you know there's many emotions that are going on. Like you of course are rooting for them, but then you see other kids getting hurt and stuff, and there were so many injuries at these tournaments. um you know, you're just like, man, I just want her to come out like without an injury. Like if she can do that, I'm happy, I'm cool. We'll get we're at the stage of this year was like kind of getting the basics down for these girls, and again next year we'll see what happens in the off season, what kind of training she puts in and whatnot. I know we're gonna try to toss around the weights a little bit to get her a little more strength, and we want to get some explosiveness. So when she's on bottom and she's trying to get up, or if she's just in a situation where she just needs that quick boost that she may not have right now because those muscles aren't trained as well as they could be. Hopefully we won't put on like a lot of weight from muscle. Hopefully we'll just cut down on the ratio from muscle to fat or whatever, burn a little fat and kind of stay at the same weight that she's at now. Maybe just throw some little tweaks to the diet, because being the daughter of the Omaha fatty, it's probably hard for her, and we do our share of eating out, so we'll have to make sure to keep an eye on that, just to make sure that she's healthy and has the energy that she needs to perform when she gets out there. I don't want her being tired. I know there was one, I think it was last weekend, in her last match, she was just done for, and she felt like she was going to be sick. So, we want to make sure to put her in the best position to win, or at least be able to perform to the end, to the last bell rings, because it takes a lot. There's so many aspects that go into performance. So we just want to make sure that we prepare adequately to be able to do that. Yeah, man. It was a great weekend. None of the girls placed in this tournament, but there were some good matches, and I'm sure they all had a good time, and that's what it's about. They've made some friends at different schools and stuff, and hopefully they'll see them next year or maybe in the summer during some of these tournaments that go on. And we'll be in the stands. Hopefully, COVID starts going away, and these restrictions lift, and you're not so uncomfortable being around folks, and I don't know, whole families can go out and support their kids, and I don't know, just have a good time, man. Competitive sport, watch these kids go at it 100%, and put it all out there on the line. It's a great thing, man. I'm telling you. Proud dad, proud father, always. I'm proud before she even steps on the mat, man, because I know that she's going to go out there and she's going to try. So that's all you can ask for. I don't know what the future holds, but I do know that she wants to wrestle again. So we're going to get at it. And I don't know, we'll see what happens with jiu-jitsu. This COVID kind of messed things up, and she was all for jiu-jitsu, and now she's kind of like, I don't know. So I'm like, bro, I know I'm going back to jiu-jitsu after after things lighten up a little bit. But I don't know. Hopefully she will, because using both of those together, they help each other, and I think she could just kind of be a beast if she sticks to it. Even if she only does one, she'll still be a beast. But if she participates in both, we could have a little monster on our hands, a monster in the making, and that's what I want it to be. I want, one thing about this stuff is, yeah, it's a sport and whatnot, but from a self-defense aspect, it feels good knowing that you have a daughter that feels confident when she walks out the door in her abilities, and as far as being able to protect herself on a certain level. It's comforting to a parent. A lot of crazy people out there in the world. So if anything ever pops off, hey, do what you need to do. And she already knows. She's got the green light, even if it happens at school. She's got the green light to protect herself, even if it means getting in trouble at school, because the way the system is set up, the zero tolerance or whatever, I don't care about that. If you were truly defending yourself or someone else, we're good to go. You have nothing to worry about at home. So we will make sure to be ready and prepared should anything ever pop off. But she tends to stay out of drama, so we don't have to worry about that. But still, having that in the back of your mind, it puts you at ease a bit, So I'm a parent, so I still worry about her, but not as much as I would as if she were just someone who was not into these physical activities at all. So again, I cannot stress it enough. Shout out to all the young ladies, all the young women out there who are putting it on the line and getting on the mats and wrestling. Like, you guys are beasts. You should be proud of yourself, of all the things you've accomplished, whether you came in first place or not. You are out there like killing it. And I know it's not easy for you to do, but you are killing it. We see you. And I think as adults, we find that as like an inspiration to see all these girls out there just going out there and getting it. And, you know, we've come a long way as a society, and there's still a lot of work to do, but being a girl dad, man, it's just cool to see. So I appreciate it, man. Yeah, that's what it is, man. Keep wrestling, keep grinding, keep doing what you do. Shout out to all the coaches and all the referees and all the coordinators who put all those events together. And I'm actually going to try to get my daughter's coaches on a future podcast so we can talk about it and just get some deeper insight, because I'm not at the practices and all that stuff, so I don't get to see that stuff. You know, we're not close enough oftentimes at these tournaments to hear what's going on the mats when the refs are, or when the coaches are giving instructions and whatnot. So I don't know, it'd be a good inside look. I think it'll be fun to do, so we're going to try to make that happen. That's all I got for you today, baby. I don't know, that's it. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate you guys giving me your time and lending me your ear. Please help me grow the What's Up Omaha podcast. If you're listening or watching, I need you and I appreciate you. Please like it, share it, and subscribe. Tell people about what we're doing with What's Up Omaha. And as we end every episode, smile, help someone else smile, laugh, and help someone else laugh all day, every day. That's what it is. Peace out. Yeah.